thing which comes into mind is version control. So basically Git is a version control. So you must be asking, why do we need version control when we can share the code in pen drives to each other, like our friends? If we are going to a lab, then we can take our programs in labs. So the thing what happens is, like, if you have coded something on yesterday, and if you have coded something today, for example, and if someone else comes and sit on that computer, another branch student, and he can delete your code, and he can, like, do anything. uh, he can take your code, delete your code, he can do anything, like whatever he wants to. So we need some sort of mechanism where we can put our code, where everyone can see it, where everyone can access it. Even you can access it from anywhere around the world. Your code must be hosted somewhere. So that's why we are here today, to solve all those problems. So Git was introduced by Linus Torvalds, who is basically father of Linux, who introduced Linux to us. If there is a famous quote by him: "If you are not distributed, you are not worth using it." That's why the whole mechanism of Git is it's distributed. Like, uh, it has many servers. You can access it from anywhere. You don't have a centralized mechanism, but you have a distributed mechanism in here. So in by distributed, I mean there is a website called as GitHub.com. I don't know how many of you know it, but it manages everything for you. It is basically internal mechanism of Linux, which was made by Linus Torvalds, but GitHub is made on top of Git, where we can put all our code and we can access it from anywhere. So why do we need version control? So how do you save your versions of code or note certain stable checkpoints? So a code has many versions: version 1, version 2, features, different features. So you don't code at once and push everything at once. You have to do it in cycle, which we call as agile cycle. You develop one feature, then you push it to production. Then you again develop a feature in next 1 to 2 weeks, then you again push it to production. So it keeps going on. That's why we need some sort of version control to have some control over codes which we are deploying. So this is introduction to Git. Git is the most popular source code management system. It was created by Linus Torvalds, and it is a distributed version control system, as I said earlier. So you can track your all the changes you have done to the code. Each developer can have their own repository of the same code base. You can synchronize the code on different parts. Like, uh, if I'm living in Pune and other developer is living in maybe Bangalore, so we both can be on the same page. If we are synchronizing our code, we will see it in a bit in the demo. So I will not take much time, like how to install it and all. You can Google it yourselves, like how to install Git on Windows, how to install Git on Ubuntu. So I won't be wasting much time there because we have already less time. So the first step is create a new repository. So you can directly go to github.com and make a new repository from there. And can you see my screen? Can someone confirm, like, if they can see my screen
Yes, we can
in
see your
the
screen.
chat? Okay, man. Cool. Thanks. Okay, so first step is create a new repository. I can go to github.com and click on new. Then it will ask me the repository name. I will simply give it as demo test. And what this repo is about, just a demo. So now there are two options, public and private. Do you want to keep your repository to be public or private? If you will keep it public, then anyone can see it on the web. So this is what you keep if you have some projects and you upload it to GitHub and then you make it as public, so other HRs and technical managers can see, like, how you code. So this is so most probably you will be making it as private if you don't want to show it to others. So, so for demo purpose, I am keeping it public. So it's asking me, do you want to initialize this repository with a README file? Add a dot git ignore. So I will add a README file in here. README file is nothing, just a TXT file where I can put like what this repo is all about. So I will click on create repository, and it will create a new repository for me. If you are getting confused by the word repository, it's nothing but it contains all the files together. So see, my new repository has been made, and you can see like I have a branch named as master. It's showing master. So when you create any new repository, the first branch you get is master. So by default it's master. If we have to pull this repository in our local, so you need to click on code, then it's saying like clone with HTTPS. So second step is uh, clone the repository using the git clone and then your repo link. So we will type git clone and repo link. So this is the repo link which we can see in here. I will copy it and then I will do git clone. Clone means cloning repository from a server, like GitHub has hosted it somewhere. I'm cloning it. It's saying cloning into demo test. So it will create a new folder for me, whichever name I give it. Initially, see, my repository name is demo test. So it will create a new folder named as demo test for me. So if I go to that folder, initially we have a readme.md file. So this is the file we created initially in the first step. It was asking, do you want readme file or not? So we clicked yes. That's why it has created a readme file for us. Let's go to our third step. Third step is you have to add any file in this project. First of all, I will open this folder in my code editor. This is code editor. I will zoom it so everyone can see it. I have a folder called as demo test, and inside it we have a file, readme file, which we created when we were creating the repository. So our next step is to add any file in the project. So suppose I'm adding a new file, index.html, just for example, and I'm putting some content in here. Hello to the world. The third step was add any file in this project. So if we have added the file, the next step is add some changes. So let's change. We have already done the change, like we have made a new file and then put in some content, HTML content. Next step is to do a make some changes and do git status. So by doing git status, we can see like what's the status of our repository right now. So I am in folder demo test, as you can see in my terminal, and my repo is initialized in demo test. I will do git status. It's saying like you are on branch master, your branch is up to date with origin master, and it's also saying you have untracked files. Untracked means you have added them but you haven't tracked them yet. So to do that, we have to add these files. So guys, before I proceed, I just want to say one thing. We never push to the branch master. Right now we are on master. We keep master aside. We never push on master. The production code is always pushed to master. We never push to master. So initially we should change our branch by git checkout -b, and then we can give any branch name like design. Suppose I am developing a feature, and this feature includes basic maybe design. By this command git checkout -b feature design, I will be taking myself to a new branch. So I will not push to master anytime. Just remember, we never push to master. Master is safe. Like master is always updated with the features we have made. So we always make a new branch from master, then we do everything. So I have switched to a new branch. It's saying you have switched to features slash designs. So we will continue with our next steps. So fifth step is add change by git add file name or git add dash. So the difference between git add file name and git add is, if you type git add and the file name. So if I'm doing git status, it's saying you have untracked changes in index.html. So if I want to add only this file index. Suppose I have two files. Let's make another file, index.js. I have two files, index.html and index.js, which I added recently. If I will do again git status, it will say you have two untracked files. So there are two cases. If I want to add both of them at once, and if I want to add only index.html. So for example, if I just want to add index.html initially, I don't want to push index.js. I'm still working on index.js and I just want to push index.html. So I will do git add and then file name. If I will do git add space dot, it will add all the files in the repository which are untracked. So I will do git add and then file name is index.html. So I will do index.html, and then if I will again check the status of my repository, it will say you have added new file index.html, and there is another file which we haven't added, so it's saying it's an untracked file. So we haven't added it yet because I will be working on this later. So our fifth step is done, and then after adding file you have to commit some changes by. So now you have added the file, but you have to commit it so everyone can see your changes. So you have to commit it by saying git commit -m and then some message for the commit. So for example, I have made some designs in HTML. So I will be typing in some meaningful message which other developers can understand and get to know like what changes I have done. So I will do made some design changes. Your message has to be meaningful so others can understand like what things you have worked upon and what changes it includes. So as you can see, one file changed, 11 insertions. If I will do again git status, only single file is coming called as index.js because I have committed index.html. The next step is you have to push this to here. So here haven't done any changes. So if I have to push it here so everyone can access it, so I have to write git push origin and the branch name. Git push origin means wherever our origin is. Our origin is GitHub right here, so we will be typing git push origin and the branch name we have worked upon. So if by chance if you forgot like which branch you were on, you can always type git branch. It will tell your branch. This is our current branch. We have to push this branch to our main origin, which is github.com. So I will type git push origin and then branch name. Now magic will happen at backend and all the changes will be pushed. So it's saying like your changes have been pushed to this repo. If I will go to this website github.com and I will refresh it, you will be seeing a new branch naming as feature/design. Here is a new branch. We haven't done anything on the github.com, but we have pushed our changes from local to github.com. If I go to git this branch feature/designs, you can see like I have added index.html, made, and the commit messages made some design changes. So that's why I was saying your commit message should have something meaningful so others can see like what all changes have you done in the code. So we have pushed. So suppose I have a new So next step is, if you want to take pull from another branch. Suppose we are two developers. One developer is sitting in Pune, other developer is sitting in Bangalore. So both of these will be working on different features, like different tasks. So they will be working on different branches. Suppose I am on branch feature slash one, then he will be working on any other branch like feature slash two. So I will push my changes in feature slash one, and that other person will push his changes in feature slash two. So by this way we can be synchronized, like our code will be in sync with all the developers in the project, you can say. If you have to pull something from other branch, you have to type git pull origin, then branch name. But before that, you have to do a git fetch, so you can fetch all the latest data of the repository. So why do we have to do a git fetch? Suppose developer B, who is sitting in Bangalore, he has made a new branch and then pushed it to github.com. But my local doesn't know, like, if he has made new branch or not. So before doing git pull, I will be doing git fetch. What fetch does is it fetches all the latest metadata of the repository. You can just type git fetch and it will fetch all the latest metadata. Since we haven't added anything, so it's giving nothing. So if I will add a new branch from here only, I am creating a new branch AA, just for example. And if I will do a git fetch again, see, by fetching it's saying like you have a new branch at origin. So this is why before doing git pull from some other branch, you have to do git fetch. So your local must be updated, like what's new have been added to the github.com repository. So suppose I'm making a new branch here, git branch B, and branch name feature slash B. Unknown. Let's to git branch first, like which branch I'm into. So right now I'm in feature slash designs. So what git branch A does is it gives all the branch present right now. So I will be checking out to another branch. I just made a new branch in github.com AA branch. So I will be going to that branch, GitHub, git checkout AA. Now it's showing like you have switched to a new branch named as AA. So suppose I will add another file, demo.txt, and I will add some random text. So now I am added some random text. If you will do git status to see all the changes, you will be seeing like we have two untracked files, demo.txt and index.js. So guys, let's do another way. If we have to add everything at once, we will be doing git add and then space and dot. So if we want to add at once, we will be doing git add dot. Everything will be added. You can check in status. See, you have added two files, but you need to commit it. Git commit m and commit message. New branch changes. So I have committed it. If I will push it, git push origin branch name. So I have made some changes to AA branch and pushed it. We can also see these changes on the github.com. If I refresh the page, see two new files have been added, index.js and demo.txt. So right now we have three branches. First branch is AA, second branch is feature slash design, and third branch is master. So we never push on master, we never work on master. Master is very safe branch. We don't have to touch the master. We always have to make a new branch for master. So like I was saying, So suppose this feature slash design was made by some developer who's sitting in Pune, and this AA branch is made by someone who is sitting in Bangalore. Now this Pune guy wants to be updated with the branch of Bangalore guy. Like feature slash design should be updated with AA branch. So everyone will be in sync. So what I will do is I will go to feature slash design. You can see like see it's we don't have any changes in this branch. We just have a single file index.html because the developer who is sitting in Pune doesn't know like what the Bangalore guy has pushed to the repository. So I need to take pull of the branch which Bangalore guy has made. So first of all, I will do git fetch. It will fetch all the latest metadata. Then next I will do git pull origin and then branch name. So the branch name will be the branch made by the developer who is sitting in Bangalore. So I want to be updated with the code which Bangalore guy has wrote. So I will be doing git pull origin and then branch name. Branch name will be AA. Okay, origin spelling was wrong. Git origin AA. See, now it's saying two file changed. So it has added these two files to index.html to my another branch feature slash designs. So now both of my branches feature slash designs and AA branch, both of them branches are in sync, and you can say like both developers are on the same page. So everyone's code is updated with each other's code. So now you can also do git log to see all the previous logs. You won't be using it much git log, but you can check always like who did what. Like Amit Deshwal has made some new branch changes, then committed something. You can always do git log to see all the changes. This was very basic demo which we have, like how we work in teams. If we have, since now everything is remote, we have developers sitting around different places in world. Developer is in US, someone is in Bangalore, someone is sitting in Pune. So we have to be updated with everyone's code. So this is how we do initially. So 80% of the time you will be using these commands only, creating a new repository, then git clone, cloning the repository, then adding changing your files, then adding them, then committing the message, and then if someone else has developed something, then you have to take pull from that branch. So till now, anyone have any question? Like you can ask question in chat also if you want to. Okay, then I am taking it as no. So this is branching something what I did right now. Suppose we have a stable version of code that you have developed in production. So yeah, this is the branching system I was talking about. We should never touch master branch because it is the branch which has changes which we don't have to make any changes in master branch in short because yes ma'am. So does anyone have any questions? Okay.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, man. So this is how we do in industry, like everyone is using Git, and this is how we manage our code. This is how branching is done. We can make any number of branches from master from any different branch. Suppose I have to suppose uh, feature slash design has updated code, and we have a new developer in team, and he is a new joinee. So he will be he will be cloning the repository initially, then he will be taking pull of feature slash designs, and then he will make a new branch from feature slash designs. So right now I am in feature slash design branch. So suppose I want to make a new branch from this branch. So simply I will do git then b, and then you can type the branch name, whichever you want to, and the new branch will be created. This is how branching works, like which I showed right now. And this is the flow of branching. So see, you have, suppose you can see v1 is nothing but version 1. Suppose you have deployed something to the production and named as version 1 feature, like something has developed, and we are pushing it as version 1, saying like this is our version 1 and we will do another changes in version 2. So suppose I have to make another new features, or we have to make some fixes. Suppose we have pushed our code to production and the tester hasn't tested it in a right way, and it is giving some issues to users in production. So we will be making a new branch from the version 1, like the latest branch. Suppose this v1 is master, and master has always the updated code. So master is always with sync with everyone, but we do not make any changes in master anytime in the industry, because master is always updated and we don't have to touch master. So the only branch you can trust is master branch, because before merging anything we have to uh, look at the code. Like I will talk about it in the later slides. We are going in somewhere else. So we have to make a new branch from version 1. Then suppose I have fixed bug fix 1 and bug fix 2. Then I will be pushing those features to that branch. Then I will be merging that features to master to, so that my bugs will be fixed. This is how the basic flow works in Git. So this is collaborating with Git, how the two developers works. So just ignore the option 1, focus on option 2. We had a demo of this now only, like all the developers push again against a central repository. In this case, the central repository is github.com, which manages everything for us. Like every branch, everything is managed by github.com. We don't have to do anything. So suppose developer one's computer can take pull from github.com anytime. Developers 2 computer can take pull from github.com anytime. This is how we will be in sync. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. It was a basic demo. So I will show some other thing too. Suppose now I have to push, see my, so for now my master doesn't contain anything. Is it just at a readme file which is like just a demo. So suppose I want to merge something to master. As I said, like master is not touched by developers. We have, suppose I have developed a new feature in feature/designs and I want to push it to master. So I will be making a pull request. So it's saying like you can make a new pull request. You will click on new pull request. Then it's saying what will be the base branch. Base branch will be master, since we are going to push to master from our new branch feature/designs. So now I want my master to be updated with the other branch. It is showing like what all changes have been made. Suppose I create a pull request and assign it to myself. So this is what happens in assignees. Your manager will be reviewing your code before merging it to master. So suppose he is reviewing your changes, like what you have done. He will ask you on call like why you have done this. So before any merge, your manager or tech lead will review your code, like what have you done, what sort of logic have you used, and why have you used it, and then only he will merge your code to master. And master is always updated with the master is something you can trust always. Like it has the working code. Master has working code. It won't be having any conflicts in master. We always push master to production. We never push any branches to production. So suppose I will comment something here, like it's saying like is it okay. So I will be saying like it's perfect. So this is tech lead commenting like it's perfect. reopen the pull request. So you can say here's a button like merge the pull request. If I will click on merge the pull request, confirm merge, then the master will be updated with feature/designs. Now if you go to master branch, see master has a new file index.html. So it is updated with feature/designs, and now we can push this master branch to production since it has been tested thoroughly by the testers. So we have a source of consensus on that master branch because we can trust master like it has everything right code. Like everyone can take pull if something bad happens from master and develop another feature. Yeah, I think we are done with basic Git demo, but I can show you something very cool. If if we have static pages like index.html and then a CSS file and a JavaScript file, you can there is something called as GitHub pages. You can host it here only. Suppose suppose I want to host my master. I will click save and I will go down, and it's saying like your site is ready to publish that. It will give me a URL link. Okay, GitHub pages is temporarily down. Okay, their server is down, so we won't be able to do it right now. But you can host your static files on GitHub only. Like if you want to show it to someone. Yeah, pretty much that's it. The basic Git commands. So 80% of the time you will be making. 80% of the time you will be creating a new repository and then cloning it in your local system by git clone and the repository link. Then you will be making a new branch from master by doing git git checkout and then branch name. Sorry, I forgot to add in here like how to do it, but you can Google it like how to make a new branch in Git. You will be able to do it, and you will be making any changes in that file. Like you will be working on some features, A feature, B feature. Then you will be adding those files, and then you will be committing that file. Then you will be pushing it to the main repository. In our case, the repository is hosted on github.com, so you will be pushing it to GitHub, and then your manager will see your code. Like if it is right or not, then he will merge it to master branch, and your code will be deployed to production, so everyone in the world can use it easily. Yeah, guys, that's it. It was very quick. I think, yeah, it's 11:42. We finished it very quickly because it wasn't some rocket science. It was very simple. Yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can ask me now only in chat, or you can unmute your mics and then ask. Okay, we have question from Shitish Patil. How will we know that new branch is made? Do we have to ask the other person who made it so I can update it? So Shitish, you can ask the other person if he has made some new branch, or you can simply do a git fetch, so your metadata will be updated with the latest changes. So you can always make a git fetch before pushing anything to production, so you will be able to know like which all new branches have been added by other developers, or you can simply ping the other developer like if he has made some changes or not. So guys, you can ask me any question apart from git also, like if you have about your career or about your projects, anything which you want to. Okay, now let's take a practical example. We can work on how you can use git in your life. Like suppose now some of you will be in second year and some of you will be in third year. Suppose a third year batch is making a new project and it has a team of 10 people. So you can do is create a new repository. Then everyone, the 10 persons can clone the repository. You can add members, like go to settings and options. Okay. Manage access. See, it has a settings called as manage access. So suppose you are making your repository as private repository and you don't want anyone to access it. So you will be inviting a collaborator and he has to be on github.com so you can collaborate. Suppose I'm inviting some person like demo @123 and I will click on demo @123 and click on add. Then the other person will receive a mail from me like Amit is inviting you to Amit is inviting you to this repository. Can you accept it? Then you will be clicking on that link and you all can have access to that code. So yeah, third year guys, you can make a new repository and clone it and share it with your team members. Then you can all work on different branches and push your code. So everything will be in sync. You don't have to put anything in pen drive. So in companies, pen drives and all those CDs, everything is not allowed. So you have to be remote working. Like you will not be using pen drives because they are banned. Companies, they are illegal also. So the code is on GitHub or GitLab. So we have also a thing called as GitLab. They are competitors of GitHub. So you can either use GitLab or GitHub, whichever you are comfortable with. Both of them are almost same. Okay, do you have any questions? If you are afraid to ask in public, then you can find me on WhatsApp, Twitter, or mail me anytime. Or you can ask now only if you want to.
Dear students, you can ask few questions. On chat box also you can write. Or else you can ask afterwards. Amit, are you going to share your contact number?
Yeah, ma'am, I already shared it in the screen.
Okay then. Students, you can note it down.
Okay, we have a question from Dhanshri. Can you tell any good books or any courses for data structure or algorithms? So yeah, Dhanishri, before going into data structure and algorithms, I would say like you should be comfortable in any one of the languages, like either it be Python, Java, or C++, C, whichever you are comfortable. Then only go to data structure and algorithms. I can suggest you a very nice website for coding and algorithms. It is called as Lead Code. Like it has like nice problems, and people are getting placed in Google and Amazon, all those bank companies by using Git Lead Code. So yeah, Dhanishri, there are many books. Like if I can't suggest you a particular book, but you can Google something if you are not able to understand. But if you want to start, you can start with, there is a book called as Cracking the Coding Interview. It is very famous and it has been read by many people. So you can prefer this book if you want to. Ma'am, I would also
Yes.
suggest like you should tell all the teachers to use Git and
Yes.
GitHub up,
Right.
and we should not be keeping any code in the system?
Yeah, computer IT people are using right now.
Okay, man. Nice, nice. Like earlier when I was in college, like we used to transfer the code in pen drive and Gmail only.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, students, do you have any more questions? No? No? Okay, then Amit, we can stop there.
Okay, we have a question from Kshitij again. Can you please tell us about your company? So yeah, Kshitij. So our company works mainly on ML and AI and on data analytics part. So we have different verticals in our company. Like we make chatbots also by integrating ML into it. We also make a full pipeline from scratch, ML pipeline you can say. We have different verticals like finance industry, health industry, and finance, health, and there is also another industry. Yeah, right. You can go to quantify.com and search like what all things we're working on. Mainly we work on AI and ML and all sort of things. So yeah, you can go there, quantify.com. Okay, we have another question from Rishikesh. How much percentage core subjects matter in company interviews like quantifier, VMware? How much percentage core subjects? Like, I don't get your question, Rishikesh. Are you asking about like how much subjects matter in general in companies like quantifier, VMware?
Rishikesh, you can unmute from your side.
Yes,
You can ask question.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That only I'm asking. Hello.
Yeah, Rishikesh, you can speak. Yeah, yep.
Yes, sir. Can you tell means how much percentage core subject matter while interview? Hello.
Which all core subjects are you talking about?
Yeah, you can tell of any subject means how much percentage questions they ask about core subjects while interview. That only I'm asking.
So Rishikesh, we never know like what the interviewer will ask because the other person who is interviewing you, he maybe have some expertise in web development or maybe in Java or C++. So you never know like what he will ask you, but he will ask your questions based on your resume which you have put in front of him. So in resume, if you have mentioned Node.js and C++, so he will be definitely asking you questions on C++ and Node.js.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Students, those who have not filled feedback form, please fill.
Hello.
Link is shared with you.
Hi.
Please fill
Hi.
it.
Am I audible?
Yes, hi. Yeah,
I have one question. How
okay.
you have started your preparation for your interview and your for your company interview all this?
Okay, so Ajinkya started web development in third year only at the end, at the mid of the third year, and then I practiced JavaScript a lot, JavaScript and CSS mainly, and then I practiced Angular also in between. And then luckily Quantify was searching for a full stack developer, so I was the right fit for the company, and they selected me. I hope
Okay.
that answers your question.
Okay. I have another question. That is about your
Hmm.
project. What you have done? Which type of projects had you done for your preparation and for showing your interview?
Okay, so I had three projects when I was interviewing. One was in web development mainly. It was blog app mainly, like it was hosted somewhere, and I also gave them link to access it. So one was blog app in my fourth year, I made a project on ML, machine learning. It was basically made by using OpenCV algorithms. So it was a automatic door unlock system. So it will scan your face. If your face is in the database, then it will open the gate for you. Otherwise, the gate will be locked forever.
Okay, I get it. Okay, next question is that ML data analysis and AI that you are working right now. Okay, and what's your experience
Right
about
now,
that?
I'm working as a full stack developer. So whatever ML guys are building it, we are putting it on the front end and making backend systems to integrate the services. And my experience is quite positive.
Okay, okay. Means
I have learned a lot in past 1 year.
continue.
Yeah, Ajinkya, you were saying something.
Yes, and my question is that means ML data analysis that you are cooperating with your guys that you are with your company. But what's the basic they need? I mean, today there are a lot of programming, some a lot of algorithms are there. There need to all mug up all this algorithm or to understanding the algorithm and implement it. Means what's your view about that?
Yeah, if you are into ML, then you have to do study on weekends too to be updated with the algorithms. Like every day, new research papers are getting out, so you have to be updated with all of them. I have seen ML guys like working and researching and selecting the best algorithms according to the output and confidence of the algorithm. So you have to study a lot in ML if you are going into. And ML is a high paying job because you have to keep updating yourself.
Okay, thank you, Amit.
Yeah, Jangya, most welcome. Okay, so we have new question from Vaibhav Karunekar. Is it true that there are no fresher jobs in data science and data scientist? No, Vaibhav. If you have some projects in your hand and if you have something to show to your employer, like I have made these projects, so they will definitely hire you. Skills matters and projects matters. Your in industry and your experience also. But since you are fresher, so the only thing you can prove is by showing some projects. How to get started with it, any good source? Yes, that's a good question. You can go to youtube.com and search for, wait, I will show you. You can go to youtube.com and search for free Camp data science, and it will give you many tutorials. Like one of them is of 13 hours, one of them is of 6 hours. So we have also a playlist, whole playlist to learn everything about data science, and it has everything to get you started and have some projects. I am giving you link in the chat. You can access it from there. Yeah, welcome. Hey guys, any questions? More questions? I mean, you are in second and third year. You should having much more questions. What are your views on Django? Django is great because it is on Python. So eventually you will learn Python and you can use Python also in ML side if you are going to switch into ML later in your career. Django is great. It's a very great framework, I can say. But I have never worked on Django. I have just made some basic apps on Flask and Django. But it is great if you are coding into Python and you don't want to switch to JavaScript at all. But I am quite biased here. I like Node.js more than Django, you can say, but Django is great if you know Python. Yeah, welcome.
That one question also I have.
Hmm.
Are you happy? Are you happy with your job?
Yeah, man, I'm too happy. I'm learning plus earning, so what else do you want? So guys, the best thing about working in technology is like you will be learning new things and they will be paying you for learning new things and implementing them. That's the best thing. We have a new question from Sharwari. Is there any need to make a personal portfolio website? No, Sharwari, it's not necessary. It's your own choice. Like you want to have a portfolio, then you can make portfolio website. Otherwise, you can show them your projects also by providing the GitHub link, and they must be hosted somewhere. Sir, any blogs community to follow for keeping updates of industry trends? Yes, Siddesh, you can go to Twitter and follow some good people there. So, so what happens in India is like every new framework we are getting is from the US markets. So if something is trending in US, then it will be trending in India after 1 or 2 years. So if you want to be updated, then you should follow Twitter. That's the best place to be updated. And Kshitij, you can also attend local meetups in Pune. I have attended a lot of them. Some of them were paid like 5,000 to 6,000, but you can always ping them like I'm a student and cannot pay that much, so they will give you a scholarship for free. You can always try that. I have attended 3 to 4 meetups like that only by not paying anything. We have a new question from Dishant. What things you learned in his industry as a fresher, problem faced, and please share experience. Okay, so when I was a fresher, when in initial days, like there were about 2 weeks training, then we were tagged to some internal projects and we made, and then later on I worked on a Reddit project. I don't know how many of you know Reddit. So I worked on Reddit projects and made their front end plus back end. It was simply a translation part, like we were translating English to German, and in that team ML guys were also there. They have built sort of algorithm to translate English to German in real, and I have made backend and front end for them. And last month I was working on chatbot, and that chatbot was for CDLE government, and it was a huge project since it came from Google directly. So we are tied up with Google and Amazon. So most of our projects are from there only. So companies give projects to Google, then Google transfers it to us because we have expertise in those domains. Well, I problems faced. So the only problems you can face is if they are assigning it to they're assigning you to a new project and you don't know that technology. So you have to work hard on that on weekends and study the technology and implement the features in real time. They won't be giving you 1 or 2 months to learn something and then implement it. You will be learning dynamically and coding dynamically. You have to be dynamic in industry, otherwise there is always someone to replace you. And guys, I will recommend you all to search for remote jobs apart from the college placements, since they pay a lot. Like the minimum package is around 15 lakhs and it can go up to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 lakhs, because they are all remote. The company is in US, but they want you to work remotely for them. So they will be paying in US dollars, and it will be around 16 lakhs starting package. That's the mistake I did. I would have tried that too. Any more questions,
Students, any
guys?
another question?
I think we are good, ma'am. Thank you so much for bringing us all.
Yeah.
Thank you for arranging this seminar.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for sparing your valuable time and giving information about how to work with GitHub.
Yes, ma'am.
Students have enjoyed question answer session as well. Thank you very much. Definitely, this will help in career of students for how to work with it. Thank you. Thank you, Amit.
Yes. Thank you, guys. You can always ping me if you have some doubts. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Bye.